Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Jack,
And I'm Elena.
and today we're going to be talking about how to train your brain to think in English.
It's great to be here.
So, learning a new language can be really tough,
It can be. Yeah, it's a big challenge.
and it can feel like you're always translating in your head.
Yeah, especially at the beginning, you're kind of stuck in that translation mode.
Exactly. So how can we start to move away from that and think more naturally in English?
Well, one of the easiest ways is to start small with your everyday surroundings.
So just like the things we see around us all the time.
Yes, exactly. Like right now, look around and what do you see?
Okay, so I see a computer, a microphone, a water bottle.
Perfect. Now try naming those things in English.
Computer, microphone, water bottle.
See, you're already doing it.
It does feel a little bit more natural just saying the words like that.
That's it. And as you go about your day, just keep doing that. Label things you see in English. Table, chair, window, tree, anything.
So it's like I'm creating a mental map of my world, but in English.
Precisely. And don't stop there. Think about the actions you're doing too.
Like I'm sitting, I'm talking, I'm listening.
Exactly. You're narrating your life in English.
Okay. I can see how that would start to make English feel more automatic.
And you can do it with any activity. Like let's say you're making dinner.
Okay.
As you're cooking, you can think I'm chopping the vegetables. I'm stirring the sauce. I'm setting the table.
Like I'm giving myself instructions, but in English.
Right. And the more you do it, the more natural it will become.
So we're basically just adding English into our everyday thoughts.
Exactly. And you can take it a step further too. Instead of just labeling things, try to describe them in more detail.
So instead of just saying book, I could say, it's a big book with a blue cover.
Perfect. You're using more adjectives, you're building your vocabulary.
And I'm really thinking about the book in English, not just translating the words.
Exactly. That's what we want.
This is really helpful. I think I can start doing this right away.
It's a great first step to training your brain to think in English.
I'm ready for the challenge. What other strategies can we use?
We have plenty more to share. Let's dive into those after a quick break.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.
So, we were talking about describing things around us in English.
Yeah, that was a good tip.
It was. And now let's talk about something called shadowing.
Shadowing. I don't think I've heard of that before.
Basically, you find a native English speaker and try to repeat exactly what they're saying.
Oh, so like I am their shadow following their words.
Exactly. You try to copy their pronunciation, their rhythm, their intonation.
That sounds like it could be really helpful for pronunciation.
It is. It really helps you to internalize the sounds of English.
I see. So where can I find material for shadowing?
Now, there are lots of places, podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos.
Okay.
Just choose something with clear audio and a speaker you enjoy.
That makes sense. What else can I do to make thinking in English a habit?
Well, you know how we use our phones and computers every day?
Yeah.
What if you switch the language settings to English?
Oh, that's a good idea. I never thought of that.
It's a small change, but it makes a big difference.
You're right. It would force me to use English all the time.
Exactly. And it exposes you to a lot of new vocabulary.
What about writing? Is there anything I could do with writing to practice thinking in English?
Absolutely. Keeping a journal can be really helpful.
But what if I don't know how to write everything I want to say?
It's okay. Don't be afraid to use a dictionary or translator.
So it's more about the process than about being perfect.
Right. Just focus on getting your thoughts down in English.
And over time, my writing will improve.
Definitely. The more you write, the easier it will become.
That's good to know. So we've talked about technology and writing. What about speaking?
Speaking is so important. And the best way to get better is to talk to native speakers.
I know I should do that more, but it's always a little scary.
I understand. But there are ways to make it less intimidating.
Like what?
Well, you could join an online language exchange group.
Oh, that's a good idea. That way I could practice in a more relaxed environment.
Exactly. And there are groups for all kinds of interests.
So if I'm interested in movies, I could find a group where people talk about movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can start small. Just have a few short conversations.
I like that. It doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Right. The key is to just keep practicing. Every time you speak English, you're training your brain.
I'm starting to see that there are a lot of different ways to approach this.
There are. And the more you do, the easier it will become.
This has been really helpful. I feel like I have a lot of new ideas to try.
I'm glad. And remember, the most important thing is to have fun.
That's good advice. Learning a new language shouldn't feel like a chore.
Exactly. And I think we have time for one more quick tip before we wrap up.
Okay, let's hear it.
So one last quick tip for making learning English more fun.
Okay, all ears.
Think about your hobbies. Is there a way you can do them in English?
Hmm, that's an interesting idea.
It is. Like if you love to cook, you could try finding recipes in English.
Oh, yeah, I could learn all the cooking terms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if you like playing video games, you could try playing them in English.
That's a good idea. I never thought about that.
It makes it more challenging and more fun.
I'm starting to realize that learning English can be fun.
It definitely can be, and it should be.
Thanks for all the great advice today, Elena.
It was my pleasure, Jack. And remember, the most important thing is to be consistent.
So keep practicing every day.
Right. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of the learning process.
That's right. So keep learning, keep practicing, and have fun.
Great advice. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for having me.